Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of my portfolio series. Now, in the previous episode, we did a lot of talking about the GameStop and along with that, the other sorts of meme stocks for last week. And it's pretty much continued this week. However, compared to last week where it was very strong, it made a lot of gains and it made a lot of money, this week the crash has begun to happen. Now, the main man behind the GameStop sort of push, it is reported that he's lost $13 million this week alone, and it's only going to seem to be going down. Now, the owner of the Reddit forum, or the man behind it, is saying he's going to keep all his stocks and is in it for the long term. Now, I have made a bit of a mistake this week, which I will own up to later on, and basically go through why I've done it and why I thought it was an opportunity. But the GameStop rise has pretty much stopped this week and is becoming a bit of a major decrease. And it's going to be an interesting week next week just to see what happens. Now, a lot of the investment apps like Robinhood and Trading 212 to a point did step in again once there was a bit of a sort of rush towards GameStop increasing, but they got involved and stopped trading again. So GameStop is trying, the community behind GameStop is still trying to run that short squeeze, but there does seem to be an influence behind it which is seeming to stop people buying shares and stopping the movements happen in such a way as it did previously. Now, because of how prices started on the Monday and how they were at sort of the all-time low and they really did sort of drop down into the $150 mark, I decided to make a decision and make a move. Now, you will see by my total portfolio value, we are at 4.7k invested and we're at 4,300 total value at the minute. And as you can see by this lovely graph, we have lost a fair bit of value this week. Now, it's not as bad as it was in the middle of the week where we were £500 down and 10% of my portfolio was wiped off. We did manage to make a bit of a recovery towards the end of the week, and I'm hoping towards the next week or the week after we will increase that and hopefully make the money back. But what I have done, I had £2,000 available to spend, and I have split that £2,000 into two 1,000 stock choices. Now, the first one is the company which I've been really backing for the past couple of weeks since I started, and that was Blackberry. Out of all the meme stocks which were sort of pushed behind the Wall Street Bets incident, Blackberry was the one to me which seemed to have a bit of logical business strategy behind them. They are now a software company and they are very much at the forefront of software security and have secured some major contracts going forward. Now, some of the contracts which I've read about is the US government, with Facebook, and now recently there are rumours that Blackberry will be working alongside Amazon. Now, these companies are all sort of the top tier and will only push Blackberry forward in terms of becoming one of the software big time companies. Now, along with that, they are also trying to move into the electrical car world and provide the security for the software which will run the electrical cars. And since we are really going towards that direction, I do believe they will have value in the future with that as well. Now, I am quite lucky. I did buy them at sort of $12, and while they did sort of hit the lows of that and maybe went a bit lower, I do think it's a decent price. For me, £10 a share is what I was happy to buy with all the way through. And as you can see, with Blackberry hitting $25 at one point, there is still plenty of potential to go there. Due to the selling of the other stocks, I think Blackberry was affected quite badly and tied in with the other stocks when it shouldn't have. And because of that, it caused it to decrease when really, I think long term, Blackberry will be a lot further ahead than the other stocks which have been chosen. And I do think that $25 will actually surpass it at some point in the next coming years. Depending on how well they progress as a company, it could be this year or it could be a couple of years, but I am very long term on Blackberry. And as you can see, although we've only made a little bit, although the stock did sort of go down in the week, we are actually clearing profit Blackberry so far. And I'm quite interested to see over the next couple of weeks how well that performs and whether we can keep that going. And so here is the second choice for my £1,000, and I bought in. I bought in on GameStop. Now, as you can see, where I bought in was $123, which in the grand scheme of things, with how volatile it was and how it was performing, it could have gone up hundreds of dollars, or like it has done, it has crashed. Now, was it a mistake? Yes. Was it a gamble? Yes. Could it have worked? It could have, but it didn't. And I've made the mistake here of doing the number one rule of any first time investor, and that is not to buy into the hype. and I bought into the hype a bit. I thought it would be quick money, and it isn't. And that's a lesson which I'll learn and I will always stick to from now on. It's to stick to the safe companies and minimize your risk as best you can, unless you are willing to risk that money. So as you can see, I pretty much lost half my money on GameStop this week. Admittedly, the money I put into GameStop is money I could afford to be without, because this portfolio is for the long term. But just to see that money be wiped off my portfolio value so quickly as well, it was a bit rough. It was a bit of a rough week. But I'm now long into GameStop. I think because I've lost so much value in GameStop itself, I'm just going to ride the wave and see how it is and see just where we go from there. I mean, behind it, the CEO involved is trying to push the company in the right direction, and I think long term maybe it could sort of push back at least for me to break even. But I believe there's a lot of sort of cases to be sorted out with the GameStop issue on how it was handled and stuff like that. So maybe in the future we can get some profits out of it. It will be staying in my portfolio, and we can sort of have a month by month or maybe even a week by week case on how it's performing. And maybe by the end of the year we'll be able to sell it up and at least keep back some of the money we put into it. But that is the main reason why you see my portfolio value at the minute and why it is down. It's just that I think we bought in at 129 and it's pretty much just over half the value now. So yeah, that was a bit rough. Now, last week we bought some other companies as well, and I'm glad to say at least one of them is doing well, and that is Sensonics, which is to do with the insulin, and it's a pharmaceutical company. And for the last week, we are up 26%, which is great. I do believe in the values and how this company works, and I do think it will be a stock we do purchase next week. Probably put all the money in for that and see how all that performs as well. Sophie, the hedge fund company, has a bit more of a rough week this week, and we are down. But again, these two companies are companies I do see for the foreseeable future, and I do remain very long term on them as well. In terms of the rest of the portfolio, it's pretty much been the same sort of week. The Vanguard funds have done okay; they are still holding their value, and sort of your typical companies are still sort of performing well. The Apple stocks we bought last week have also done decent as well. We've not had any dividends this week, but again, they just come in, and once they add up to a decent value in the portfolio, we just invest into other stocks at the time. Now, I know for a couple of weeks I've been saying I'm going to just make some small adjustments in my portfolio because I do think I'm holding a bit too many stocks. I'd rather have a smaller number and increase in their value. So I will sort that at one point. I will be starting a new job this week, which will allow me to sort of spend more time at the computer. But not only that, I can do some more research and hopefully bring the quality of these videos up a bit, especially with some news articles and just talking about the week and sort of what's happening in the investing world. And maybe if there's any questions in the comments, I can ask them as well for the next video. So just going to go through one more article which I found interesting, and that was that the stimulus check in America, it works a bit different to the UK. We don't have stimulus checks, we sort of have a furlough scheme. Stimulus checks, which we will be doing for another round in America, is going to be done in a different way, and it might possibly affect a number of people by only being available for a slightly less percentage than before. Stimulus checks in America are a bit weird because you normally find it has a very adverse and volatile effect on the stock market, so that would be something we can keep our eyes on because it seems to be a bit of a trend which wherever the money is released, the stocks do gradually rise up due to the influx of money available in America. But that will be something we'll look at towards the end of next week and possibly keep going onwards as well. So that's the end of the video for this week. This week I will be putting into place some planning for some other videos. There are some other investments I have which I'd like to talk through and sort of go through why I do that instead of going completely into stocks. And along with that, a few lessons which I've learned from investing along with some other ideas. I've really been able to secure a job where I can put a bit more time into the content I create and maybe diverse from just videos and go into a bit of written form and stuff like that. But I'll make sure I let you know about that and make sure there's always links in my description just of anything else I create or any form of contacting me as well. But that will be the end of this week. So if you have enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. We will be keeping these videos weekly for the foreseeable and hopefully bring a couple more videos in a week as well. And if you have any comments about stocks or any issues this week or any of my picks in my portfolio, please drop a comment and I'll do my best to reply. Hope you've enjoyed and we'll see you guys next week.